Good evening, you movers and shakers out there. Welcome to the Friday, May 27th episode of the PM show. Just a bullshit chatting. We're going to get everything synced in here together real quick like. There's that. There's a thumb. There's that. I'll fix this real quick. Blip, and there goes that right there. Then of course we're going to share it out. Well, that was kind of weird, but okay. Hello, Stephen. Hope you're doing good. Caucasian, good to see you, bud. Hey, what? Howdy. You know, I was trying to come up with a name for this thing earlier. I was sitting in there watching Netflix with the wife, and we ran across a brand new game show on Netflix with Howie Mandel on it called Bullshit the Game. And it's like, that's the perfect title for our evening stream. Bullshit. Oh, let me see here. Good evening, KG. Good to see you. Good to see you're hanging in there, bud. That's all we can do, man. That's all we can do. No matter how hard we try to make things, up on the high end, bud, if you can just hang in there, everything will be all right. May not be great, may not suck completely, but it's going to be all right. Yeah, check it out on Netflix. It is called Bullshit the Game Show. And it is freaking hilarious. If I could find a way to make this into a live stream trivia game, I would. But Ian told me you and him got rained on in the tent. Had a rope break, and it caused a dip in my side, a dip in the breezeway, and a dip on the side of the tent he was sleeping on the other side of the breezeway. And it happens. It happens when you can't afford to go out and buy brand new rolls of sisal rope every year. But I mean, it wasn't anything major. He left early Saturday morning to go to his niece's graduation or whatever the case was. And Saturday night, the blankets and stuff were so wet because it didn't really get warm Saturday. I mean, it was comfortable, but it wasn't warm enough, and there was no place that I could hang my blankets out. And I went back in. They were still wet Saturday night, so I grabbed my furry little Jon Snow cloak and went out and sat next to the fire and slept next to the fire. I was fine. Little rain is nothing. I told him I was at a rendezvous one time, and a dude set his tent up at the bottom of a hill because he didn't want to climb up the hill. It was only like 30, 40 feet up the hill, but he didn't want to climb up the hill. So he set his tent up at the bottom of the hill, and it rained that night. He was sleeping in his cot. He didn't even realize that his clothing box and his cooler and stuff like that were slowly inching their way out his front door in what soon was known as the Little Walking River, because it walked his shit right out the front door of his tent. So I've seen it a lot worse than a little bit of drizzle here and there. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even really have a bad drip. It was just a drip right beside me on the bed, and it was enough that on my thick insulated blankets it kind of sat on top until it all had a chance to soak through. So, oh well. I offered to let him spoon with me in my tent where everything was nice and warm, but he didn't want to. He wanted to sleep with the donuts. He's not in here, is he? Oh, that's how it is in Tennessee, Caucasian. On a warm night, you fall asleep out on the deck looking at the stars, laying in a lounge chair, and sleep right through a light rain. Except, you know, when it sizzles when it hits your skin because it's so ungodly flippin' hot. Oh, but goodness gracious sakes, it is Friday night. I'm going to kick back tomorrow, make some peanut butter cookies. Nummy, nummy. Seeing as how my mother-in-law went and got her commodities, and she managed to wrangle me up like 5 jars of peanut butter. Now that I have peanut butter to spare, I'm going to make some peanut butter cookies tomorrow. Of course, Sunday I'll be coming out, either tomorrow or Sunday, haven't decided yet. I'll be coming out with a new video, up and coming, fun, giggly stuff. Monday, Mark, myself, and Danny will be doing the Memorial Day Parade. Of course, I will be filming that. I might be even filming it from in the parade. Who knows? But after the parade's over, we go down. We have the memorial service for fallen soldiers and stuff. Down at the cemetery, we fire multiple volleys for them. Mark will, of course, have his M16. I'll have Grumpy. It'll be a memorable experience. Mark will be doing Vietnam. I'll be doing Indian Wars era military. And then, of course, next weekend, we have the Town of David, the old cult compound investigation. Hey, Tony. Good to see you, bud. And the following weekend, we have Napanee, Indiana, the Days of the Blue and the Gray. Another great event that we do. They've been contacting me for a little over a month now, trying to figure out if I was going to come back and film this year. Oh yeah. So I hope everybody had a good week. We are just about done with May already, guys. We have got, 28th, 29th, we got 4 days left in May. We're moving on to the beginning of summer. Well, that'd be cool, Whoop. That'd be cool. Napanese probably 4 hours maybe away from you. I mean, it's not very far north of northwest of Warsaw, so it's not too awful bad. Oh, down that way, Caucasian. I'm sure there's plenty of reenactments of one kind or another. Napanee only 2 hours away. It's only 2 hours from not. It's only an hour and a half from me. That puts us only 3.5 hours apart. That's Indianapolis. Oh, that is true though. You don't live very far away from Indy. He better come pick me up too. Yep, he's going to drive an hour and a half south to drive 3.5 hours back north just to see your pretty face. Good evening, Templar. Good to see you. Well, you're closer than I thought you was, Book. I thought you was down south of Indy. I used to do Kokomo, Valparaiso, Lafayette, Logansport, that whole area down there. Hell, I grew up just south of Marion. Oh, I know. I was actually talking to somebody this last weekend at the Ren Fair that is part of Fort Ouiatenon in Lafayette. So who knows? I might actually start doing Ouiatenon again. Who knows? Who knows? Well, my missus was sent home from work today with the COVID. Oh no. Tony, I am sorry about that. Man alive. You know, that's the first case that I've heard of that in probably the last 4 months. I've not heard of anybody around these parts getting it. I am so sorry, dude. Tell her to bed down and eat what she can eat, sleep when she can sleep. Also, we come to find out that decongestant, no, vitamin C and vitamin D, both are helping to beat that. When the wife had it, that's what she started taking was vitamin C and vitamin D, and she was over it in a matter of just a few days. Not too far from me. And then Mom and Dad live in Frankfurt. Wow, well, that's a vacation for her, but hopefully she don't get overly sick. Hey, Ian, good to see you, bud. Sonny, howdy, howdy, howdy. My dad just tested positive Sunday, but today he's doing better. Good. Good. Keep your head cool and your feet warm. That's about it. That's about it. No, when the wife got sick with it here, a few months ago, some old woman that she knew that from there at the casino told her vitamin C, vitamin D. So when she tested positive for it, we went straight to dollar store and bought one of the cheap bottles of vitamin C and cheap bottle of vitamin D, and she was taking them every day, and she was over it in like 3 or 4 days, and went back and done the test again and tested clean, so they let her come back to work. I think she was, that was the second time she was sick, because the first time she was sick, you all remember right, she was off for like 2 weeks. We're talking about quarantining in southern Missouri. I don't blame you. What's she going to do, make a raccoon sick? Out there in the middle of BFE? He's had like a cold with chest congestion. Yeah, Steph was taking a decongestant too. And that's what Grandma was doing when she got it, was taking a decongestant and then taking vitamin C tablets. And she's, 83 years old. She come through it like a champ. She's having symptoms like a cold. Because we had his 90th birthday party. Oh, I'm glad you're feeling nothing, Tony. Yeah, I know, Sonny. His birthday party was here just a few weeks ago. Yeah, my congestion was real bad too. Take those pills. Like I huffed rabbit fur. Doing lines off of Bunny's belly. Luckily, the Omicron didn't make it over here to get us. Thank God. Her work said she could return to work in 5 days. Yeah, the second time around with Steph, they told her, I think it was 7 days, or as soon as she had a negative test for it, she could return to work. And they started calling her on the 4th or 5th day from the tribal clinic, wanting to test her every day to see if she was clear. There was that many people out at that casino from it. I was like, so because everyone works but me, I'm keeping watch of him, but my little sister is this weekend. That's good. That's good. Definitely watch over them, and just make sure, because I was the one here with Grandma every single day while she was sick, and she spent a whole lot of time sneezing, going through boxes of Kleenex. She'd go through a box of Kleenexes a day. So, yeah, it's never good. See, rabbit feet aren't that lucky. Nope. They aren't, especially for the rabbit. I got the original, was horrendous. Haven't been sick since. My sister said they only quarantined for 5 days. Yep. It may not have been as severe or as severe here as it was in a lot of countries, but it's still, pardon the pun, but it still wasn't nothing to sneeze at. I was hoping for a 2-week vacation. Well, the nice thing about it is it's a vacation with pay. Dad said what irritated him was he had no energy. That's the worst part. That is the worst part about it, is just being so lethargic. You don't want to move. You don't want to do anything. You haven't got the energy to do anything. just getting up to go to the bathroom just completely wears you out. I'm gonna go watch all the Ghostbuster movies tonight. Don't watch the one from 2016, man. It'll completely ruin you for the other, or for the last one. Hell, I got no energy not being sick. I have those days myself, my friend. But they have me on a couple of different pills I take. Just completely zaps my energy. So then if I'm laying down and I don't eat when I should eat, then not only don't I have the right amount of energy, but then my sugar goes down and I want to sleep even more because then I really don't have any energy. So yeah, I feel you. I know exactly what you mean. My sister-in-law was evacuated from South China to Atlanta. That was the day before New Year, 3 months before lockdown. I wish they would have done that with a lot more citizens. Evac them straight out, but a lot of people were stuck over there. When I called my sister to go check him out, she said he had his chainsaw in his bucket on the tractor going to go cut some bonfire wood. And when she left, he went out and put it away. Sounds to me like an old determined fart that don't like being held back from doing the things he wants to do. But at least he was smart about it and went and put the stuff away. I got sick January 4th. My wife and kids went to Disney that week. Just think how many people they contaminated in Disney. Shame, shame, shame. Well, and you know, I reflect back over the last couple years, and I think that out of all of our people, if I remember correctly, we only lost one to the pandemic that was a regular viewer, and that was a regular viewer of the old channel. I think we lost one. So, pre-COVID, no one used such. Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure I had COVID a week or so before lockdown started. I've never been so ill. Sounds like my dad. My dad is the same way. Heck, he farmed and worked as a pipe fitter all his life, no vacation. Oh, wow. First time I ever thought I was going to die. Dude, I'll tell you what, it'll kick the bejesus out of you. Plain and simple. And like I said, I've not known anybody yet to have the Omicron variant. but the original 19, oh my God, yeah. I mean, it kicked the bejesus out of everybody that had it, especially people that already had an underlying condition or was a little bit older, uh, things like that. You know, my wife with her, the heart problems that she had a couple years ago, it really buckled down on her. Um, I fought it tooth and nail. I was so tired. If you guys remember, I missed a few live streams, um, just because I wanted to lay. I wanted to lay in bed. I didn't want to do anything. Had no energy to do anything. If I could have hooked up my own catheter, I probably wouldn't even have got up to use the bathroom. Um, it was just tiring. It was exhausting. And I still had to muster up the strength to get up and do the litter box or get up and run the vacuum cleaner or, something. But, I, 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 I had to. It's just, yeah. My son said the same thing. That's why I haven't been on the internet. Just tired myself. Hey, Jan, good to see you, dear. But yeah, it's rough. Anybody, Tony, you definitely watch yourself, man. Definitely watch yourself. If you start to have any kind of weird, if you just aren't feeling like yourself, um, definitely get yourself some vitamin C, some vitamin D, and some decongestant, and take it religiously, man. Don't play with it. At the moment, you feel fine, and that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Definitely take care of your sweetie, even though she's not all that sick right now. Definitely take care of her. That way you got you got one in the pocket. If you happen to get sick and she's feeling better, you cash that one in. All right, I took care of you while you felt like you were dying. Your turn. Hey, Jay. Good to see you, bud. You attempt to get COVID. Conjectural. Conjugally. There you go. Get conjugal COVID. That's what you need to do. Then you get conjugal COVID. Then just your tallywhacker's tired. The rest of you's fine. If she allows. She has to sleep sometime. I'm back. I dropped my phone in my drink. Wow. I bet. I'm just glad you got a good phone. I'm back. So is she, though. Yeah. So much for those vaccines keeping you from getting sick, huh? There's Terry. It's so sad Ray Liotta passed so young. It's a favorite movie, Goodfellas, Henry Hill. I did not hear about that. Ray Liotta. Crazy. Wow. At least it wasn't the toilet. Very true. Very true. purpose? Oh, goodness gracious. Yep, he dropped it in his drink on purpose. Oh my God, that is true. Good point, Templar. Good point. He could have dropped his drink. Then it would have been a lot worse. Man, I am so glad, though. So glad you dropped your phone in your drink, but did not drop your drink. Or, maybe he purposely caught his phone in his drink so it didn't hit the floor and break. Non-alcoholic, no party foul. Psst. There you go. The visions are ruined now. I thought maybe he caught that phone floating on an ice cube in his whiskey. In that chilled whiskey. Cassie, hope you're doing good this evening, love. Well, this evening it's 4:30 there. Definitely share it out if you'd like to. I'm going to sit with my fishes. There you go. Show them little fishes some love. Well, for those of you that came in here this morning, it wound up being a real short live stream this morning. It was only an hour long. My mother-in-law had ran in to a lady that used to know Grandma and Grandpa, and they used to get together and play cards and stuff like that. And they've not seen each other since my wife was little. And just bumped into her at the store, invited her over today to surprise Grandma. Well, they were supposed to be here at 11:30, and they wound up showing up at a little after 10. So I had to cut the stream short this morning and get the house all cleaned and swept and looking purty. So I could just spend the afternoon in the bedroom watching movies and let the old girls talk. And they talked for about 3.5 hours today, caught up on the last 2 decades. It was real fun. Real fun. I can't afford this diesel fuel. It's crazy. Tell me about it. Any fuel around here is crazy. We hit 457 here, and then it went back down to like 449. But 457 is what we got it to the other day. It went very well. Get a piece of hose. Yeah, I was teasing the wife about that because she got gas yesterday and forgot to close the fuel door on the car. I opened up the door and I'm like, think somebody was siphoning your gas, and she ran up the door and she's sitting there looking at it, and then she realized that the latch was latched on, but she forgot it's a pressure door. So you got to push it until it clicks, and when you open it, you just push it and it opens back up. And she completely forgot to close it. I'm telling you, it's not worth that. Consequences, I think it's 483. Wow. I'm forced to sell pics of my pretty feet so I can afford gas. Oh, man. $6 in California. Woo. On vacation this week, but last week it was 465. Well, I guess last week Congress approved a national average of $5. So we'll see what happens on that. Or not a national average, a minimum of $5. Go figure. I mean, it's not like they pay for their own gas or anything. So, like, we're filling up multiple vehicles. One that we drive around, and the others with our tax dollars for our congressmen and our representatives and stuff to drive around for free and not whine about gas prices. Same son of a bitch tried to steal gas from my truck. Red box. Buy the new Ghostbusters for $3.99. Too bad it was already one. Hey, Joe. Good to see you. Oh, yeah. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's going to get worse. I heard here last month there was places in Southern California that it was upwards of $8 and $9 an hour, or $8 or $9 a gallon, dollars an hour. Burn. Not one empty. That's awful. The thieves here stealing the SIM cards out of the in-service cameras. Wow. You know, put your baby picture in here. Why in the hell are they stealing the SIM cards out of the cameras? A family member stole diesel from my place thinking he was getting gas. Now he has no car. Well, that's definitely one way to screw your only form of transportation up. Tell us about running into Ian. Oh, Joe, I've known Ian for a long time. Yeah, we worked together for a while. We've done a couple, and he's come out to a couple of our investigations. They're not very far from where he lives at. I look forward to seeing Ian. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always happy. If everybody lived as happy of a life as Ian does, the world would be a much better place. Ian don't worry about shit. He just goes on about it and lets whatever will be, will be. There's that little fuzzy bastard been tickling my lip. I heard him say the other day that they're considering eliminating the state tax on fuel. Several states have talked about doing that. Several states have talked about eliminating the gas tax, the state tax, until gas prices go back down. So, I mean, we will see. We'll see what happens. I mean, you know, they're talking about it. So, here now, the froze gas tax. Yeah, Ian's cool. I love Ian. Like I said, we used to work together. Pizza Hut, there in Niles. My wife's best friend all through school was the manager of it. She's now district manager over multiple towns, multiple stores. Ian's moved on. I've just moved. But I see Ian when we do a lot of our cemetery investigations. I see him at the Ren fairs and stuff, and any other functions that are there in the area. So, very familiar with Mr. Ian. He's always got the same smile on his face. Not like raising it anymore will help. They did in Connecticut, got rid of gas tax only until December. Buck, good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well tonight. Ian's best characteristic is he's an authentic person. Yeah, very authentic. Very authentic. Just to give you guys the heads up, and I done the same thing in this morning's chat. For the foreseeable future, maybe not permanently, but for the foreseeable future, we will be doing away with Wednesday live streams. I've already not been doing a Wednesday morning live stream for a few weeks. Starting next week, I will be co-hosting Unrestricted Paranormal with Danny. That's an 8 o'clock live stream here on this platform. Then it also goes out on multiple podcast platforms as well. So if you are not subscribed to Unrestricted Paranormal, I'll give you guys 20 seconds to go over and subscribe to it. That's where you'll be able to see me and Danny. Of course, you know, he's going to be the straight-laced guy. I'm going to be the jerk. You know, that sarcastic turd head, ass hat dude that, you know, stops at no limits to make people laugh. That's just how we do it. Lucky the video Ryan Hall put out on the Weather Channel, Gaylord, Michigan. I should bitch, but I rarely catch live evening streams. Yeah, you. In other words, I'm going to be playing Tony on Unrestricted Paranormal. Danny and I work really good together, and we have a lot of fun. We play off each other really well. And he has some very, very awesome guests over there. The doctor he had on there the other night is he's very well-knowing when it comes to the supernatural, ufology, things like that. Thank you, Sonny. I appreciate that, love. But, you know, I get tired of Tony having all the fun, so I figured when Danny and I talked about it the other day, I said yes, and right away I thought, dude, I can play Tony. And that will be fun because it's not my live stream anymore, and I don't got to be all straight-laced about it. Done and back. Thank you, sir. And that's probably going to be the subject matter. That's probably going to be the subject matter of the video that I put out this weekend, is the fact that I'm going to be co-hosting over on Unrestricted, talking about Danny, his podcast, some of the guests he has over there. I suppose I should be flattered or offended. Should be flattered, dude. They say, they say impersonation is the highest form of respect. So I figure if I could go on there and I could be Tony York for 2 hours, I'm going to be Tony York for 2 hours. Because Tony always has fun. Except, when he's caring for a sick wife and she throws up in his shirt pocket. Then it's not so much fun anymore. Look at that girl I was telling Drew so he could see it. The tornado at Gaylord, Michigan. Oh, I heard about that. I seen a couple of videos on that the other day. I thought maybe it was just straight force winds. You don't usually see tornadoes that far north. Andrea, good to have you. Cassie sent you, huh? Well, then you're good people as far as I'm concerned, because I love me some Cassie. I did the morning sickness gig. Life happens. Amen to that. Amen to that. With my first wife, when she got pregnant for the boys, I was right there. I had the morning sickness. I was sicker than a damn dog. A lot of mornings. Got into that about the middle of the second trimester. There was no getting away from it. There was no getting away from it. I was living on Pepto-Bismol, chicken broth, and Sprite. Oh, you meant getting puked on? No, I had it. I was puking on myself. She's a good one. Oh yeah, she's a good one. That's for sure. I love her and Chad and Molly. I've not had a chance to watch any of the other folks that stream under Oracles and Beyond, but I love me some Chad and Molly. They're awesome too. Nice to meet you. And there's kids and grandkids. Which, thankful for kids and grandkids, because I'm at that age now where I can't do adult vomit anymore. But I have no problem with kids. I have no problem with babies. I'm a grandpa. I can still change the worst diapers out there and get barfed on, and you let an adult do it, I'm just going to add to it. It's over with. It's done. Stomach goes, and everything that's inside it just kind of, projectiles. And this is a BS stream. We can talk about anything. Let me see here. Way up there. Oh, I can no longer vomit due to stomach valve repair. Oh, you lucky feller, you. It's like crying when someone else cries, I cry. It depends on what it is. It depends on why they're crying. Uh, but yeah, and that's part of diabetes. It really messes with your messes with your emotions. Um, you go through that whole massive depressive state, and you go through those really buggered up emotions. I mean, like I lost it with the Texas thing the other day. Just hearing the news reporters talking. One of the news reporters started getting choked up while he was talking and had to look away from the camera, and I just completely lost it. I thought about my own little girl sitting in school and what I would be going through if that kind of thing happened here. So, yeah, yep. No, I ain't lucky. There's a lot of times that the ability to throw up would be a relief. I can see that. I can see where that ability would come in very handy. Ryan Hall has a good video on the tornado. Was F3, 140 mile per hour winds. Was on the ground for 20 minutes. Wow. That far north in the state of Michigan. That's insane. That is so far outside the tornado belt, it's disgusting. Yes, it is. It's very heart-wrenching. You are absolutely correct. It is very, very heart-wrenching. One of the reasons I homeschooled Ashley until high school. It scared the bejesus out of you, that's for sure. That's for sure. And especially in a town our size, where we only have 5 officers. We have 2 on the day shift, 2 on the night shift, and 1 standby. To give the other guy to rotate through and give the other guys a day off. It's very scary knowing that there's only so much they can do in a situation like that. Now the nice thing is our county sheriff's building is just right outside of town, but still, once again, not very many officers there at any given time. Because not only is it the county sheriff's building, it is also the jail. So, I don't know why the hell they didn't lock the frickin' doors. And that right there, Tony, is why there are lawyers already saying that the school is going to be held partially liable. There were no security measures in place that should have been in place at a school. I mean, even as small as our town is, 3,500 people, all of our schools are locked. You got to buzz, and they got to look at you through the camera and talk to you through the speaker before they'll unlock those doors. And those doors are not just glass, they're that crossed wire glass. So even if you break the glass, you still got the steel, very sharp steel wire in between the panes of glass you got to get through. It's been since they had a tornado that bad in Gaylord. Wow. That sort of thing happened here. I would go there. I think that's one's question. And the shit stain locked himself in the room with those kids. Yeah, I was watching one of the interviews early this morning, and one of the little kids said this kid just simply walked into school, looked at a group of kids, and said, "Hope you're ready to die." Now, there was something severely wrong in this kid's head. You know, it was not a spur of the moment thing when he said, "Oh, I'm not going to graduate this year." Bang bang, Grandma, you're dead. Take off in his car, in his truck, wreck it, and then get out and just kind of look around and go, well, I didn't make it to my destination, so what am I going to shoot up here? Oh, look, there's an elementary school. I mean, there was really something buggered up in this kid's head. Sadly enough, right now, the way things stand, they're going to have to scrape it up off the sidewalk to figure out what it was. It's being really investigation because people responsible will be held accountable, most definitely. Well, this is probably the fourth or fifth thing, Carrie, that we have been on about, and that's the reason I decided to make tonight a BS stream. So everybody deserves a chance to vent, especially when there's a lot of BS going on. The picture they show of him, he's very creepy look in his eyes. He does. He had a very, very dead, unfeeling look in his eyes. I try not to weigh in a lot because there's so much bullshit that comes out early. Yeah. He was at the elementary school. He was 18-year-old. No reason for him. Well, the reason he was there, Sonny, was because after he shot his grandmother, he took off in his truck. And if you look at the pictures of his truck, his front driver's side wheel was laying like that. So he apparently had broke the bearing and everything, and the wheel just fell sideways. So he was stuck there. So it's like, you know, wherever he was heading to with his arsenal, he didn't make it. But he was intent on going out with a bang, and apparently the only thing there was the elementary school, and he just happened to be able to walk straight into it. Controversy now. Apparently a parent heard about it, went to the school while everything was going on, and went into the school, got their child out by herself to fucking unlock doors. Exactly. Repeal the 8th Amendment. See, the thing about this is, and I hear the same question over and over again. The kid turns 18 years old, walks into a gun shop, buys 2 ARs on his 18th birthday. Now, number one, where was the background check? Number two, where'd he get the money to buy 2 ARs right off the hooks behind the worker? Anybody got any clues on this one? Where was that background check? How did an 18-year-old get the okay? And just looking at the kid, you can tell he was 7 barrels of ape shit crazy. And where'd he get the? Let's say where'd he get the? Let's figure low. Where'd he get the $1,400 to buy 2 ARs? That's just like the hazing court. Just got the verdict today. Not guilty for felony murder, 18-year-old in Bowling Green University. Yeah, okay. He wasn't carrying a magnet. He passed the background check. I know, that's what I said, Tony. You know, that's a good point. The 2 ARs were more than $4,000. I said, and that's why I said, let's figure low. Let's figure really low. You know, at $600-700 a piece, $800 a piece. Did he know the people in the store? Did he deal drugs? You know, exactly. And he was just a couple weeks over 18 years old. How did he manage getting his background check cleared in just a couple weeks and going back to getting his guns? Where'd he get the money for the guns? Why'd he pick that type of gun? You know, where'd the other guns come from that he was actually carrying? He had over $1,000 in mags and ammo. See, around here, Tony, when you go to do a background check to buy a gun, it's at least a month. At least a month to get cleared for a background, or to get your background results back. Now, for a job, yeah, you can get cleared in a matter of a couple hours on a background check. But when it comes to buying a gun, I've never in this area heard of it being less than a month. Okay, so it wasn't on him when they found him. Dozen places he could have tossed it. Like an AR-15, just over $900. Idaho and Show did one for $400. Texas has a lighter note to get a gun too. 3 days, wow. See, to me, that's not very secure. That's not very secure at all when, you know, that can't be that thorough. It cannot be that thorough. 3 days to do a background check, especially on an 18-year-old who just that day turned 18. They haven't even processed any kind of a record to it into an adult file at that time. Well, he had a Daniel Defense AR. That's $2,500. Okay, see, that's a good point. I did not look into the type of guns he had. My bad. See, the way the police made it sound, or the way the reporters made it sound in the original report, was he walked in there with a rifle and he walked in there with a pistol. They said he had purchased 2 ARs on his 18th birthday, but that was all that was said. No one at that point in time, when I could actually stomach watching it, did they ever say what he was, whether or not he was carrying the ARs at that time, anything. All the background check is are you educated, mentally ill, or convicted felon, or some other crime that prohibits ownership. Well, obviously he was not, obviously his brain wasn't in the right place. And I've been saying for years now, I've been saying ever since Columbine, that they need to do more on the mental background of some of these kids than, than they do. Plain and simple. I mean, you don't do away with a person's right to ownership, unless they are completely effing crackerjacks and shouldn't even be able to look at a gun, let alone own one. I'm going through DD's website now. Let's see if I can find one for 25. Just because DD declared into the claim doesn't make it so. It's okay, I'm not a steak eater. Who choose which kids? Yeah, exactly. What do you mean, Tony? Who chooses which kids? Um, the ones that he fired on, or the who chooses which kids get the more enhanced mental background check? I don't think it's as much playing God if you do the same background check with everyone. You don't just pick, you don't just pick and choose. Hey, that kid looks like he might have a little mental issue there. Maybe we need to do an enhanced mental background check on him. You know, you do the same thing with all new people going out and getting a gun license. You do the same thing. You know, a, a mental background check, a mental background check for a minor is just like a mental plea or a minor's police record. It's locked. You don't have access to it without special circumstances. So they do the same thing. Does this person have any kind of a mental issue? What was their attention in school? What did they ever get into trouble? Did they ever show aggression? Did they ever see a psychologist, a psychiatrist? Have they been hospitalized for this, or this? You don't pick and choose them. So background checks need to be more stringent. Also, it is everyone that's mentally problematic. You're missing the most important word. Everyone is potentially mentally problematic. So why not take the extra effort and be more precautious, and very possibly you might save a mother and children's lives, or school children's lives, or a pastor, or a group of people in the church. Could be anything. Should be. How do you know someone's mentally unstable unless they show symptoms thereof? There are millions of new gun owners. There are millions of new gun owners do not do this. You would be waiting on a check to clear for 10 years. Actually, the person in Michigan has been to counseling. They can't have a gun. And see, when they do the background check, when a person turns 18 years old, all of those juvenile records should move right over to their adult files. That's how it should be. They should move directly over. So when you run that background check, even if like where Tony's at, 3 days. Within 3 days, you have got every bit of history on this person. Have they ever been to prison? Was it a violent act that sent them to prison? Was it a gun-related act that sent them to prison? Have they ever suffered from a mental condition that might trigger a volatile state? Even clear back to when they were 5 years old. All that shit should be like right there in 3 days. It shouldn't take a month or 10 months or a year or 10 years, as Tony put it, to get that information back. Actually, if my one cousin had a background check on a regular basis, his mental instability would have been caught, guns taken away from him before he killed himself. Very true. And if a person turns 18 years old and they go out and they buy an AR-16, and then at 19 years old, then they test perfectly fine. They've never had an issue. They've never had a run-in with the law. They've never had a problem. They get that AR-15, AR-16 on their 18th birthday. On their 19th birthday, they decide to join the military. And they go away and they serve their 3 or 4 years in the military, and they suffer from PTSD. Then what do you do in that situation? It's a big can of worms. It's a huge can of worms. Because this person not only got their gun and passed everything that they needed to do in a background check, but then became a veteran. But because they suffer from a mental condition, then do you take away their rights to own a gun? I know that because I was selling some of my husband's collection in the past. We get a more thorough check. Floyd card system gets backed up. It takes months to clear AR-16. I thought it was right. Pardon schools. It's after 8 o'clock, guys. I am going to go run to the bathroom real quick. Just keep this going. Keep this going. I love the different viewpoints on this. I'll be right back. Locked doors. Now see, once again we go back to the school thing, locking the doors, stuff like that. When I was in school, they never locked the doors. Your parents, big brother, big sister, grandma, grandpa, total stranger, could walk straight into the school. Back in the 70s, early 80s, you didn't have stuff like this going on. They need to lock the doors. That's why they're saying that the school is partially to blame for the situation that occurred. And you actually had one teacher who, at that school, you actually had one teacher on the news when they brought up arming the teachers and the school staff to help protect the school. The teacher said they weren't carrying no damn gun in school. Yeah, Tony, in the 70s and in the early 80s, man. I don't know how many kids drove to school with their gun in the rack in the back window of their truck. I mean, you didn't have that stuff. You didn't have crazy psycho assholes walking into schools hurting little kids. And if somebody did, we had more guns out in the parking lot in the back of the cars and stuff than they had with them. AR is nothing more than any other semi-auto rifle, possibly age limit on purchasing. The school of cop there every day. See, we never had cops. Never had cops in school. That shit didn't start till the early 90s around here. I have a 1961 Remington 742 that is a semi-auto, 2 times as powerful as any AR. It's the poor workman that blames the tools. Satan to Jesus. Also, very old proverb. Satan was, yeah. I'm still learning all this, just throwing out questions. Marksmanship was a class, not in Michigan. This is Missouri. Times were better then, and there were more common sense. We keep saying locked doors. How do we know the doors wasn't locked? Because they said the doors weren't locked. They flat out said the doors weren't locked. The teacher had blocked the door open, I guess, to get a breeze going through the school. He walked straight in there with no problem. .30-06, baby. There are police in the schools here now, not when I was in school though. Cuffs to the doors were propped open. Yep, they sure will. Or they sure were. They even admitted that security was breached before he ever walked on the property. Yeah, there's a video of him walking right around the corner of the building and going in. No effort whatsoever. Just walk through open doors. I think if the school systems in our country start making it mandatory that any teacher who has a license, either open or concealed, have to start bringing their gun to school, either wearing it on their side or placing it in a secured location that only they have access to, we're going to see a change. When the day comes that a person starts walking into, much like when the day came, and I'm using past tense, when the day came that a person would walk into a gas station, put a gun on the gas station attendant, and all of a sudden hear click, 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 click behind them, and turn around and there's 7 or 8 guns pointing at them, shit changed. Same thing goes for our schools. When the day comes that a person walks in there with guns on them with the intention of doing harm to somebody's children, and they're met with the same force as that guy in the gas station, that's when shit's going to start changing. Do you know, you brought up a really good question, Jan. You brought up a very good question. Why did it take 45 minutes for the cops to actually go in? Do you know there's news reports out there right now of cops that arrived on the scene before their department arrived on the scene and went into the school and pulled their own children out? There's questions being answered right now by law enforcement officers from that district who entered that school when they got the report there was a gunman on hand and pulled their own children out. We've never had so much hate in the schools as they do today. Agreed. So that's why Drew didn't invite me to the stream. I invited everybody. I invited everybody. I'll see, Jan, if I can find that news report, and I'll send it to you. I seen it yesterday morning, and it made my stomach turn. Cops were in the building earlier but didn't breach the room. A little respect for police and laws, might be a little not happy. And the cops did treat it as an active shooter. 300 plus school districts in Texas that allow armed staff, and no school shootings in those. I rest my case. Well, yeah, definitely, Tony. You want to be careful what you believe. You're absolutely correct. Once again, and I can't express this enough. When we have a situation like this, you are gonna catch so much. You're gonna catch so much shit. The news agencies are gonna be throwing it at you. They're gonna be throwing it at you. They're gonna be throwing it at you, even while the investigation is going on. And it's not until the investigation is concluded that we start to get the real truth of the situations. This is one news agency that said 3 police officers showed up on scene before their agency did, and they entered the school. What was the word they used? They entered the school basically secretly and pulled their own children out. Okay, I don't see any police officer getting clear access to a classroom full of children and only, Tommy, come with Daddy. Come with Daddy. So we have to be really careful. I'm just telling you what I heard, what I read. We're going to find out later how true it is. But supposedly 3 police officers entered the school, pulled their own kids out, and left the other kids in there to fend for themselves. And the local agency was having to answer questions as to why this was permitted. So we'll see what comes out in the wash on that one. I left out the school and that specifically. If I had kids in today's school, I'd probably keep them home because it didn't allow them to be in school with guns. No accidental shootings either. I'm so mad I'm not even spelling right. Too much back and forth in the press conferences the last couple of days. There will be many lawsuits. Yes, there will. Yes, there will. You're absolutely right. Yeah, but find me truth on that Vegas shooting. Once again, correct. You know, I'm going to get a cigarette, try to calm down. I might be back before the stream ends. If not, keep calm. Mandatory carry on. You got it, brother. You got it. You go smoke. Calm down. We're all pissed off about this, man. Because even if we don't have kids, we have grandkids, we have nephews and nieces, we have friends with kids that might as well be our own because we've been there since day one. And when shit like this happens, when it's maybe not 100% of the school's fault, but still the school plays an important part in the occurrence of the incident in the first place by neglectfully leaving the only security that keeps those children safe open. Okay, that is like opening the doors to a prison and saying, okay, it's really hot in here, it's very uncomfortable, we need to open these doors on the east and west ends to get a cross draft going through so nobody's hot and sweaty. How many of those prisoners you think are still going to be there at dinner time? They're going to head for the hills just as quick as they can. The same as somebody, even if there's a 1 in 150 million% chance that one person is going to get a feather up their ass and decide they're going to shoot up a school? That 1 in 150 million% isn't worth leaving them doors propped open to get a little air in there. Waste the fucking money. Turn on the air conditioner. They flip-flopped in their press conference today. This is so concerning for families with children. Amen. Sorry I F-bombed you guys, but that's just how pissed off I am about this. If I was the commissioner of that school system, I would take this summer and I would fire every one of the sons of bitches that worked in that school. And I would hire all new people. Because and a lot of you people who have never worked in the education field before, or have kids that have gone to school in the last decade or so, when that door is opened, a red light comes on in that office. Not only does a red light come on in that office, but in most schools you have that annoying that goes on the whole time that door is open. So the principal, vice principal, counselor, the office aides, everything like that were all in that office, and all could have seen that bright red light and heard that buzzing noise and known that front door was standing open unless somebody turned the switch off. Then the red light would still be on. I would fire the whole goddamn bunch of them. And I would hire an entire brand new staff for the new school year for 2022-2023. There's a special place in hell for cowards that kill children. Amen to that, Terry. Amen to that, sweetie. I was going to say that. Why didn't they just turn the air conditioner on? There's no excuse. Our schools don't have air conditioning. My God, my daughter's school does. Almost every classroom has air conditioning. And down in Texas, most schools have air conditioning, because could you imagine what it's like being in a building all day long when it's 115 degrees outside? Glass in every room amplifying the heat. Kids are going to lose a lot of weight baking those Twinkies and Ho-Hos off sitting in that classroom. I'm just completely befuddled on the negligence that I'm just completely befuddled on it. In my town, they just built a new middle school. It's pretty much made of glass, and it ain't bulletproof. Well, and once again, that just goes to prove what happens when you put a bunch of responsibility in the hands of a bunch of retards. You get schools where our most precious commodity, our children, our nieces and nephews, our grandchildren, whatever, are going to go where they just aren't safe, plain and simple. To be honest, this is not the time to decide what to do to prevent shit like this. Knee-jerk reactions are almost always wrong. Very good point. Very good point. It's hard to make a rational decision when you're so pissed off you could chew nails in half. But at the same time, even if this situation wouldn't have happened, if this incident never occurred, and the American people decided they were going to sit down and decide what could we do to make our children safer in school, there's always going to be an emotional flare-up, especially if those people have children in schools. So, you know, one way or another, maybe in a situation like this, the emotions are even more powerful than what they would be if everybody just decided to sit down and just look at the past and, you know, try to decide what to do. Hopefully it brings about changes, but not changes in our constitutional right. Changes in what we can do to keep the children safer. Okay, you don't keep pedestrians safer by taking away cars. So, you know, it's just innocent babies lost their lives because the damn door was propped open. In the case of gun control laws, they only apply to the ones who will obey the laws. Very, very true. Very true. All I know is that regardless of what changes come about, regardless of what decisions are made, there are the parents of 19 little children, but between the ages of 7, 8, and 9, and the mothers, fathers, husbands of 3 educators. They're going to have to put their loved ones in the ground. Instead of being so angry about this, maybe we should, for just, you know, a short time, you know, mourn those losses and, you know, mourn for those families that are going through this situation right now, because I know that there's a few of you in here that are younger than me, several of you are in here that are right around my age, and a few of you that are older. We've seen this a lot in the last 30 years. Too much. I have a little niece that's in school. There's a shooting. I'll be down there in a heartbeat. I don't live too far from the school. I'm all in favor. Armed officer at every door in the school. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Our school had 2 sets of doors to get through, and they're locked. You have to use the intercom to be able to get in the school. That's how ours is. That's how ours is. And they are 3/4 inch 3/4 inch. Wire framed panes of glass. You might, like I said, you might break the glass, but getting through that really sharp wire inside the glass, not the easiest thing to do. And you're right, Tony, it does work at the courthouse. And here's another one of these situations. A lot of schools that have implemented the armed officer at the doors, 9 times out of 10, when they implement this, it all starts off with the officers getting to know the kids getting to know the officers. And everything's nice and friendly until the first kid comes to school with a pocket knife. Then they got the metal detectors out, and they're checking every kid that walks through the door, and they're checking every book bag that walks through the door, and they're checking every coat that walks through the door. And then the next thing you know, it turns into every kid is guilty until proven innocent. We've seen it happen at multiple schools in the past. So where's the happy medium? Where's the happy medium? At what point does it stop being less of a school, or start being less of a school and more of a prison? Not calm yet. Better though. Oh, you're fine. You're fine, bud. You're fine. Well, that is what you get with strict safety. And I agree, Tony. I agree, but you can't have every single kid in the school feeling like they're doing something wrong. Oh, I don't like the look of that goth kid over there. He looks like he might be up to some trouble. Let's pull him into the office and rip his stuff apart. Hey, let's go to his locker and completely shred his locker and then leave and make him clean it up when all he did was decided he was going to wear black to school. And that's usually the kids. It's the emo kids or the goth kids or well, let's even go with the farmer hunting kids. Let's even go with the kids that go hunting, wear camouflage to school or something like that. If you're not little Billy Joe Prep walking in there with your little Waldo glasses on and hey Paul, good to see you, bud. Yeah, you have a good weekend too, my friend. Hope you do something fun this weekend. If the entrances are checked and there's nothing that can be inside. And I agree with that. When does it stop? I don't think it can stop. Every child needs to be treated equally, but safety should be priority one. Exactly. Exactly. Every kid should be treated equally, but safety should be priority one. Tony, I absolutely positively agree with that. I absolutely positively agree with that. I really prefer staff to be trained and armed of those who are willing, and allow that info to remain private. Exactly. I agree with that 100%. I think that even beyond having that, what do they call those officers that sit in the schools? I can't remember the name of them now. What do they call them? Something officer. Not fat, no, the other word. Resource officer. Thank you, Tony. Um, Even beyond having a resource officer at the school or multiple resource officers at the school, I think having the staff trained by local law enforcement, licensed by local law enforcement, and having them armed is going to be the ultimate answer in those situations. This door to remain locked during business hours means this door to remain locked during business. Exactly. Exactly. Bad guy. Exactly. You train the staff, you arm the staff, you keep that list privatized. The only people that need to have access to that list is the commission for the school system. And you're right. So the bad guys have no idea who's going to kill them. This far seems to work in those 300 districts in Texas. Most definitely. Most definitely. Why not make a willingness to carry condition of employment? Put veterans and people would know better than to try. We're already a little bit different. Anyways. Exactly. Exactly. No, and that's the whole point. We don't have the right to force someone to carry. But at the condition of employment, they have the option to carry. One of my teachers. Well, I take that back. He was my social studies teacher in 7th grade. He was my history teacher in the 8th grade, and he was my history teacher in the 9th grade before I moved on to more advanced history and a different teacher. He was a farmer and a hunter. He always had his shotgun and his rifle in the back of his truck. When his son, or one of our football players, started coming to school, he always had his gun in the back window of his truck. If you have people like that who A, are veterans, B, are people who are trained to carry, and they're willing to carry, you let them do it. Campus officers, you saying officers targets. Not different like me, borderline personality. I mean, we're not going to go down that easy. Exactly, exactly. Unknown persons carrying, not so much. And what part of condition of employment was too difficult? Be nice. The wording on that phrase seemed very hostile. Somebody suggested using retired police officers, retired Army veterans patrol the schools. Retired could mean multiple things. I mean, it could be slower reflexes. It could be, aged out of duty. and that's why they retired. Failing eyesight. It could be anything. You know, I think we're going to come to find that the answer to this is not having the protection of the children sticking out like a sore thumb. It's not going to be a resource officer. It's not going to be law enforcement posted at schools throughout the daytime. It's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be people, common people like you and me, who are educating the children, who have made the choice, as a, and I'm going to phrase this just so it's phrased on here, as a condition of unemployment, choose to arm themselves and take the responsibility of protecting the lives of the children that they are in care of 8 hours a day. I'll let you on a secret. I usually had a gun in my school, and hostility was the point. Even if the shooter hadn't, they just go after adults first. Hey, Shane. Good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well tonight. Nope, you're right about that, Tony. Nothing is ever going to be 100% effective. There's always going to be some kind of ghost in the machine that fouls things up. Oh, let me see here. How's things? Things aren't too awful bad. Getting ready to start the busy season. It's like I said this morning, Danny from Unrestricted Paranormal is going to bring his Ecto Jeep out Monday for the Memorial Day Parade. Mark and I are going to be marching. Mark's going to be marching Vietnam. I'm going to be marching Indian Wars. Next weekend we have got the investigation of the city of David, which was the cult compound over by the lake. At one point in time, it was a campground, amusement park, zoo that they abandoned in like 1979. Several of the animals vanished. They were not transported to other zoos and stuff in the state. They don't know what happened to them. There have been reports of bear and big cat in the area. But they're actually giving us cabins. Drew, are you planning any streams on Monday? Yes. Yes, I am. I don't think there'll be an issue. There probably won't be a stream. I know there won't be a stream Monday morning, but there should be a stream Monday evening. Battle of Resaca was last weekend. It was hot. Drew, my nephew, will be retired military, 40 years old. So someone like that would be, yeah, I would trust. 40 years old, oh yeah, I would trust. Most people I know with guns are crazy. Go figure. A lot of the gun nuts and taking themselves out. Yeah. Good point. But let me see. City of David next weekend. The weekend after that will be Napanee, Indiana. Days of the Blue and the Gray. Be our first Civil War reenactment. I'll be down there filming. I've had several of them messaged me and asked me if I'm going to be down there filming the event, if I'm going to come down for the weekend. When I'm invited, I can't pass it up. At Block Liars. Given curriculums mandated, I'm becoming a fan of private and or homeschooling. Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. They're spending way too much time teaching our kids things that don't need to be taught to them, or they're teaching it to them way too early, or they're not teaching it to them correctly. I've always been a big fan of private and or homeschooling. I agree completely. I'm going to slide out. See everybody on Monday. You too, Jay. Take care. Have a good weekend. Don't let Jan work you too hard. You know she's probably got 7 or 8 other things on that list to do with that chicken run and stuff. Got to get the air conditioner in. Got to get the skylight in. Got to get the ceiling fans inside the chicken house. There's a lot she's got planned. Shutters. Got to get the shutters in there. Chickens are going to be living better than you are before it's all said and done. She gets them little fluffy babies all taken care of. All we'll say on the Texas shooting, everybody tries to look at the mental issues. People don't remember. People, you can't blame it all on mental issues or evil people in the world. Isn't wilderness history being homeschooled? Oh no, she goes to a public school. She goes to a public school. There's no homeschooling for her. I wish if I wouldn't be surviving right now if I had to be homeschooling her on top of everything else I've got to do on top of the channel. And yeah, no, no, God no. Damn chickens live better than I do. You are right, Shane. Evil people do exist in the world. No, got to finish wiring cages with hardware cloth. That's something, something. Little something, something. If mental illness was the whole story, he wouldn't have had anything that could have been body armor. I'm not convinced it was body armor, so twice as bad right there. And I stand corrected on the homeschool. No, you're fine. You're fine. The chickens are all done. He's got to work tomorrow, and it'll probably be all day. Well, that sucks. Got to work on a Saturday. What kind of sacrilegious crap is that? I wonder if people who do not believe in religion have trouble with the idea of people being evil. I don't know. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I mean, if you don't believe in technically good and evil, just freedom of choice, you make out of your life whatever you decide to make it. There is no, holy guidance or anything else. Are there really evil people in the world? Are there insanely good people in the world? I like to think that I'm that kind of person that regardless if it's a family member or a friend or a total stranger on the street, if I see somebody trying to do them harm or potentially going to do them harm, I'm going to put my own life in theirs. So You know, I would like to think that even if somebody does not believe in religion, they believe in solely good and purely evil. Who knows? Overtime pay. Overtime pay is always a good thing. I don't know. I don't know. I know that this was one person I've heard is insanely good is John Bon Jovi. Yes, John is very good. I have a non-believer who follows me. He believes in good and evil. Wow. Heard John lately. Um, last year, last year I think was the last time that I heard anything from him. Very sorry, but I'm a huge fan. He has done some wonderful things. Oh yeah, I mean, straight up donating lots and lots and lots. It's like a parent leaving their kid in a hot car. Makes me crazy. A kid or a pet, dude. A kid or a pet. You know, anybody. If you're irresponsible enough that you put the life of another living thing at risk, you need to be hung up somewhere. You need to be hung up. Plain and simple. Some of these guys need to know. Some of these guys need to know to hang it up. Yep. I was having trouble with the stream, or just me. I started having trouble with it probably about a half hour ago. I'll get like that 1 or 2 seconds of spinny spinny and then it stops. Wait a minute. I go out and kill stuff just to eat. Donnie, I heard the story behind what's happened with his voice. Nope, not just you. I heard that it was all of the years of singing in smoky clubs and stuff like that really started to put a strain on his pipes, which is why he sounds so raspy today compared to what he sounded like 30 years ago. That was the story I heard about him. Hence that first line in "Never Say Goodbye." Sit here in this smoky club, the night about to end. Pass my time with strangers, but this bottle's my only friend. I heard it was all those years of playing in smoky little clubs and stuff like that, and that just buggered him all up. We get old, shit don't work anymore. That's it, bud. That's it to a T right there. Or maybe it still works, but it don't work near as good as it did when we were half the age we are today. Yes, Judy also had steroid injections many times on his vocal cords. He also used to smoke himself. That'll do it. That'll do it. But alright, guys and girls, it has been another wonderful 2 hours. I got some beautiful opinions here. Everybody's voice has been heard. Awesome. Awesome. I love how we can sit down together like this, talk over something like this, and everybody can still walk away and look forward to seeing each other again later. I think it happens, and he sang a lot. Saw Paul and Ringo on a special. Ringo's voice sounded better than Paul's. I think the only thing that works well here is the ability to bitch. Hey, it works. Don't knock it. Yeah, she keeps time stamping, so that way I don't have to keep looking down at the corner of the computer to figure out how much longer we got left. It's 9 p.m. Don't know where you're going, but you can't stay here. But alright, guys, that's it. I will see you all Monday evening, Memorial Day. Guys, enjoy some and have some fun this weekend. Cook out. Have some fun. I'll see you guys Monday evening. Have a great weekend. Have a good Memorial Day. We'll catch you later. But until then, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you. God love you. I do. Catch y'all Monday night.